I want a divorce." The words landed like a seismic shockwave, freezing Audrey Sinclair with her coffee cup suspended inches from her lips. She stared across the flawless white marble kitchen island at her husband, the man she'd built a 5-year life with. "What did you just say?" Dr. Julian Thorne, London's most prestigious neurosurgeon, adjusted his Savile Row silk tie, his movements as precise and chillingly controlled as the hand that held a scalpel. "You heard me, Audrey. I've given this considerable thought. 5 years of marriage, and that is all you have to tell me?" Her hand trembled as she finally lowered the cup. "After everything we've been through?" "Precisely because of it," Julian replied, his voice devoid of warmth. 3 years of trying, Audrey. 3 years of disappointment. Initial CTA. Before we dive deeper into this shocking betrayal, make sure you hit that like button and subscribe to our channel. We're about to uncover the devastating truth behind London's perfect medical couple. The morning sun streaming through the windows of their $8 million penthouse in Mayfair seemed to mock the darkness of the moment. Audrey remembered their first meeting at St. Jude's annual charity gala, where the brilliant neurosurgeon had captivated her with his ambition and undeniable charm. "We haven't even finished the fertility tests," she protested. "Dr. Sharma said I don't need further tests to know what is obvious," Julian countered, glancing at his Patek Philippe watch, a gesture Audrey had come to despise. "My father had 3 sons by my age. His father, 4. "So that's what this is about?" she whispered. "The all-powerful Thorne medical dynasty." Julian's jaw tightened. "I have a craniotomy this morning. The papers will be delivered to your office today." "Your punctuality is impeccable, as always, Dr. Thorne." Audrey's voice dripped with sarcasm. "Operating on someone's brain right after shattering your wife's heart." "I am being practical. We both know this isn't working." He picked up his briefcase. "The apartment is yours until you find somewhere else. I'll take a suite at the Savoy." "Julian," Audrey's voice stopped him at the door. "Did you ever truly love me? Or was I just another box to check on your perfect life plan?" He paused, his hand on the polished brass knob. "Love isn't sufficient when fundamental incompatibilities exist." "Fundamental incompatibilities?" Audrey laughed, a sound raw with bitterness. "That's a clinical way of saying, I can't give you children." "You're a psychologist, Audrey. You understand that sometimes we have to make difficult choices for long-term well-being." "What I understand is that you are a coward," she said, standing tall, her shoulders squared. "You don't deserve to have children until you mature yourself." Julian's face hardened. "I've made my decision. The lawyers will handle everything." After he left, Audrey stood alone in her luxurious kitchen, surrounded by reminders of their perfect life. Wedding photos, matching appliances, a calendar marked with future fertility appointments. Everything they had built was crumbling, all because her body hadn't performed according to his expectations. Her phone vibrated, a message from her sister Chloe. "Lunch today?" Audrey's trembling fingers typed a reply. "Yes, everything has collapsed. He's leaving." Chloe's response was immediate. "That smug imbecile. I'm coming to you now." Audrey looked around the kitchen where she'd just eaten her last breakfast as Mrs. Thorne. 5 years ago, she was Audrey Sinclair, a rising star in child psychology, independent and strong. Somewhere along the way, she'd lost herself trying to be the perfect wife for the perfect doctor. Her phone vibrated again, an email notification from Julian's lawyer. She deleted it unread. Whatever came next, she would face it on her own terms, not his. She walked to the window, watching the morning traffic snarl below on Park Lane. Somewhere in that mess of black cabs, Julian was driving to the hospital, probably already planning his next perfect life with someone who could give him the heirs he so desperately craved. You lose, Dr. Thorne, she whispered to the glass. You lose. Interactive question 1. Do you think Audrey made the right decision by deleting the lawyer's email without reading it? What would you have done in her position to regain control? Share your opinion in the comments below. St. Jude's Royal Hospital pulsed with the usual morning chaos. But Julian Thorne noticed none of it as he walked the corridors. Nurses and residents stepped out of his path, recognizing the storm in his expression. Dr. Thorne! A young resident ran to catch him. The scans for the craniotomy patient. Send them to my office. Julian cut him off without slowing down. He reached his office and shut the door, leaning against it for a moment. A line of framed photographs on his desk caught his eye. 3 generations of Thorne men in white coats. His grandfather, Lord Charles Thorne, a pioneer of neurosurgery in London. His father, Lord Harrington Thorne, current chair of the hospital board. And himself, following the path laid out since birth. His phone rang. Speaking of legacy. Father! Julian! Lord Harrington Thorne's voice carried its usual weight of expectation. Your mother says she saw Audrey at Waitrose yesterday, alone again. Julian pinched the bridge of his nose. I filed for divorce this morning. A long pause. I see. You were right. We've waited long enough. Son, when I suggested you consider other options, I meant fertility treatments, not divorce. What's the point? Julian slumped into his chair. 3 years of trying. Nothing. The Thorne line needs an heir. And you think throwing away a 5-year marriage is the answer? You're the one who kept asking about grandchildren at every family dinner. Don't put this on me, Julian. Running away is not the Thorne style. Julian's laugh was brittle. No, the Thorne style is excellence at all costs. Perfect careers, perfect families, perfect lives. You sound like your sister, Charlotte. Charlotte escaped all of that. Perhaps she was smarter than all of us. So your sister abandoned her medical residency to become an artist in Paris. That's not exactly a model to follow. His father's voice hardened. A knock on the door interrupted them. Julian's resident was back with the scan results. I have to go, Julian said. Morning craniotomy. We're not finished discussing this. Actually, we are. I've made my decision. Daniel. He hung up before his father could respond. The resident entered cautiously. Dr. Thorne, the scans for Ms. Valdez. Julian focused on the images, pushing aside thoughts of Audrey and his father. Here was something he could control. The precise dance of the scalpel and skill. The clean lines of surgical excellence. Book the theater, he ordered, and connect me with Dr. Sharma's fertility clinic. The resident blinked in surprise. Sir, not for a consultation. I need you to transfer all my test results to my personal file. I never went back for them. But don't you want to know? What I want, Julian said coldly, is to do my job. Book the theater. After the resident left, Julian looked back at the photos of his family. 3 generations of brilliant surgeons stared back, their expectations weighing on him like a physical presence. His phone buzzed with a message from Eleanor Vance, the hospital's new PR director. Lunch to discuss the pediatric wing fundraiser? He replied quickly. Can't. Surgery. Her reply was immediate. Dinner then. You look like you could use a friendly ear. Julian hesitated. Then he accepted. Anything was better than another night alone with his thoughts. He grabbed his surgical scrubs and headed to the operating theater, where everything made sense, and success could be measured in clean, simple metrics. No messy emotions, no family expectations, no failed attempts at creating life. Just the perfect, controlled world of surgery, where he was still the master of his domain. Middle CTA. If Julian's need for a perfect life is resonating with you, let us know by leaving a comment about the biggest mistake he's made so far. Don't forget to share this story with friends. Audrey Sinclair sat in her therapy office, watching 8-year-old Robert build a castle out of wooden blocks. Her notes lay forgotten in her lap, as memories of that morning's confrontation with Julian kept intruding. "Sometimes," Robert said, carefully balancing another block. "When bad things happen, it's not our fault." Audrey looked up sharply. "What makes you say that?" "That's what you told me last week," Robert shrugged. "When I said it was my fault my parents were divorcing." A knot formed in her throat. "You remembered." "You look sad today, Dr. Sinclair." Robert added a final block to his tower. "What did my mum look like?" Before Audrey could answer, her office phone vibrated. "Dr. Sinclair, your sister Chloe is here." "Thank you, Robert. We're done in 5 minutes, okay?" After wrapping up with Robert and sending him back to his parents, Audrey found Chloe pacing her waiting room. "I brought reinforcements," Chloe announced, holding up a paper bag. "Chocolate croissants from that French place you love." They settled into Audrey's office, and Chloe pulled out the pastries. "Tell me everything." "He didn't even wait for the test results." Audrey pecked at her croissant. 3 years of trying, and he just gave up. "Did he get tested?" "No. He refused. Said there couldn't be anything wrong with him. The great Dr. Thorne, following in his father's fertile footsteps." "Speak of the devil. Is that Lord Harrington Thorne calling already?" 2 missed calls. I'm not ready to face the Thorne family drama." Chloe reached across the desk and gripped Audrey's hand. "Come stay with me, just until you figure things out. I can't leave my patients. Edinburgh has traumatized children, too." Chloe squeezed her hand. Fewer reminders of Julian Thorne. Audrey's phone buzzed with a message from Dr. Sharma's office. "Test results ready for review. Would you like to schedule a consultation?" "What's the point now?" Audrey muttered, declining the notification. "Maybe knowing would help," Chloe suggested. "Help with what? My husband left me before breakfast. Knowing won't change that." "No, but—" Chloe was interrupted by another buzz on Audrey's phone. A text from Julian. "Audrey, the lawyers need your signature. I'll swing by your office at 6. Audrey replied. "Don't bother. I'm sending everything to your solicitor." "Audrey," Chloe started. "I have to work." Audrey tidied her papers. "I have 3 more patients today." "Promise me you'll think about Edinburgh." "I promise to think about thinking about it." After Chloe left, Audrey looked at her schedule. 3 more children dealing with trauma and loss. 3 more opportunities to help someone else heal, while her own heart broke. Her office phone rang again. "Sinclair, your next patient is here." Audrey took a deep breath, straightened her shoulders, and pushed her pain away. Her patients needed Dr. Sinclair, the calm, serene child psychologist. Audrey Thorne, the woman whose marriage was falling apart, would have to wait. "Send them in," she said, preparing to face another child's pain while swallowing her own. Interactive question 2. Who do you think made the bigger mistake? Julian, for filing for divorce based on assumptions, or Audrey, for refusing to look at her own test results? "Clear!" Julian shouted, his hand steady as he navigated the delicate neural tissue. "Suction here!" The operating theater was silent, save for the steady beep of the monitors and the soft clinking of instruments. This was his sanctuary, where nothing existed except the challenge before him and his ability to master it. "Dr. Thorne," his resident whispered, "blood pressure is dropping." "I see it." He didn't look up from the microscope. 10 of ephedrine. The theater door opened. "Dr. Thorne," a nurse's voice. "Dr. Sharma is on line 1. She says it's urgent." I'm in the middle of a craniotomy. Take a message." Hours later, after successfully completing the surgery, Julian was scrubbing his hands when the chief of surgery walked in. "A beautiful save, Thorne," Dr. Patterson observed. "I heard about you and Audrey. Want to talk about it?" "Nothing to talk about." Julian dried his hands. "Clean margins. Patient stable. That's not what I meant." "I know what you meant, sir. I have 3 more surgeries today. Can we skip the personal topic?" Patterson held up his hands in surrender. "Just remember, divorce affects surgical performance. Take some time if you need it." "I don't need it." Walking the hospital corridors, Julian caught snippets of whispered conversations that stopped when he passed. News traveled fast in hospitals. "Dr. Thorne?" Eleanor Vance stepped out of the lift. "About that dinner?" "Not tonight, Eleanor. You need to eat." She fell into step beside him. "And you need to talk about the pediatric wing campaign. The board meeting is tomorrow." Julian stopped walking. "Fine. 8 o'clock. That new place on Coda Street. I'll make the reservation." She studied his face. "You look tired." "I'm fine." "Liar." She smiled. 8. Don't stand me up. In his office, Julian found a stack of messages. 3 from his father, 2 from Dr. Sharma's office, 1 from his lawyer. He ignored them all, and he'd opened his next patient's file. A knock on the door. Dr. Sharma herself this time. "Julian, we need to talk." "I'm busy. Your test results. Send them to my lawyer." He didn't look up. "I have patience." "This is important." "So is brain surgery." He finally looked her in the eye. "We're done, Anya." After she left, Julian stared blankly at his computer screen. The words blurred as Audrey's voice echoed in his head. "Did you ever truly love me?" His phone buzzed. "Eleanor, I changed the reservation to 7. You need an early night." He accepted, grateful for the distraction. Anything to avoid returning to an empty penthouse filled with memories and unanswered questions. The rest of his day was a blur of surgeries and consultations. Each procedure a welcome escape from reality. In the theater, he was still Dr. Julian Thorne, the brilliant neurosurgeon. Outside, he was just another failed Thorne man, unable to live up to his legacy. Dr. Anya Sharma sat at her desk, looking at 2 manila envelopes, one labeled Thorne Julian, and the other Sinclair, Thorne Audrey. The truth that could have changed everything, buried in medical jargon and hormone levels. Her phone vibrated. "Audrey, canceling my follow-up appointment. Thanks for everything." Anya picked up her office phone. "Janet, give me Dr. Thorne's surgical schedule. He's in Theater 3 until 4, then back-to-back consults until 7. "And Mrs. Thorne?" "Ms. Sinclair's receptionist. She says she's not taking calls from the hospital." Anya drummed her fingers on her desk. 5 years of treating them, watching their struggle. And now this. A knock on her door. Julian's father, Lord Harrington Thorne. "Dr. Sharma." He closed the door behind him. "We need to talk about my son's case." "You know I can't. Doctor-patient confidentiality." "Yes." He sat down, uninvited. "But as a hospital board member, and as his father, I am concerned." "Why? He is throwing away his marriage without knowing all the facts. He has his results." Anya tapped the envelope. "Yes, and?" "You know I can't discuss that." Lord Harrington leaned forward. "Anya, I've known you since your residency. That boy is making a mistake. Then he needs to hear it from you." "He won't listen to me." Lord Harrington stood up. "But he might listen to the medical evidence." After he left, Anya opened Julian's envelope one last time. The numbers were clear. Low sperm motility, below average count. Treatable with time and proper intervention. Audrey's results showed no significant issues. Her intercom buzzed. Dr. Thorne's theater has just opened. He is heading to recovery. Anya grabbed Julian's envelope and headed to the surgical floor. She found him at the nurse's station, writing post-op orders. "Julian, stop avoiding me." "I'm working. Your test results. Send them to my solicitor." He didn't look up. "I have to check on my patient." "Your wife is not the problem." Anya handed him the envelope. "You are." Julian stared at the envelope as if it might bite. "I don't have time for this." "Make time, because you are throwing away your marriage based on erroneous assumptions." "You don't understand." "No, you don't understand." Anya's voice rose. "This is treatable, Julian. But instead of facing it, you are running away and blaming Audrey." Nurses pretended not to listen as Julian finally took the envelope. "Read it," Anya said. "Then decide if your pride is worth destroying 2 lives." She walked away, leaving him holding the truth he had been too afraid to face. In her office, Audrey's results lay untouched, a testament to opportunities missed because of fear and pride. Anya picked up her phone and dialed Audrey's office one last time. This time, she left a message. "Your results are normal. All of them. Call me when you're ready to talk." Interactive question 3. What are your thoughts on Dr. Sharma's decision to intervene in Julian and Audrey's marriage? Was it ethical for her to hand Julian the envelope? Let us know in the comments. The legal document arrived at Audrey's office precisely at 2 o'clock, delivered by a messenger in an impeccable suit. Her receptionist, Beryl, brought it to her with an apologetic look. "Do you want me to throw it away?" Audrey managed a weak smile. "Tempting, but no." She took the envelope. "Can you hold my calls for the next hour?" Alone, Audrey stared at the papers. Petition for dissolution of marriage, highlighted in bold. Beneath it, Julian's signature, the familiar calligraphy of a surgeon's hand. Her phone lit up with a voicemail notification from Dr. Sharma. Audrey's finger hovered over the play button before she decided against it. Whatever the results said, it no longer mattered. A knock interrupted her thoughts. Beryl again. "Dr. Sinclair, Robert's mother is here early. She seems upset." "Send her in." Lucinda Green entered, wringing her hands. "I'm sorry to just show up." "What is it? Is Robert okay?" "He told me you looked sad today." Lucinda sat down. "Then I heard from another parent about. I just wanted to see how you were holding up." Audrey's throat closed. "I'm fine." "No, you're not." Lucinda leaned forward. "When Tom left, you were there. Let me return the favor." "I appreciate it, but no buts. We're going for coffee." 20 minutes later, they were sitting in the small cafe across from Audrey's office. Lucinda stirred her latte while Audrey stared at her untouched cup. "Have you told your patients?" Lucinda asked. "Not yet. I need to figure out how to handle the transitions." "Are you leaving?" Audrey looked up. "I don't know. My sister wants me to move to Edinburgh." "Running away won't help." Lucinda's voice was gentle. "Trust me. I tried." "It's not running if there's nothing to run from." Audrey finally took a sip of her coffee. Julian made his decision. Without even waiting for test results. That's cold. That's Julian. Everything has to be perfect, including his wife's reproductive system. They sat in silence for a moment, watching people stream by the window. "Robert asks about his father sometimes," Lucinda said quietly. "I tell him the truth, that adults make mistakes and sometimes hurt the people they love. Is that what this is? A mistake? Only Julian knows." Lucinda checked her watch. "I should get back to work. But Audrey, don't let his decisions define you." After Lucinda left, Audrey walked back to her office through the late afternoon crowd. The The divorce papers waited on her desk like a ticking clock. Her phone buzzed again. Another message from Dr. Sharma. This time, Audrey deleted it without hesitation. Some truths were better left unknown. She picked up her pen, her hand hovering over the signature line. One stroke of ink to end a 5-year marriage. One signature to become Audrey Sinclair again. The pen touched the paper, and Audrey felt something inside her break and reform. Stronger, but different, she thought. Like a bone that heals after breaking. Never quite the same, but solid enough to build upon. "This isn't running," Audrey told Chloe as they drove north on the A6. The wipers fought a steady drizzle. "It's a strategic retreat. Whatever helps you sleep at night." Chloe changed lanes, although you haven't been sleeping much lately. The removal van behind them held what was left of Audrey's life. Clothes, books, patient files, and carefully wrapped photo albums she hadn't been able to open. "They called from the clinic," Audrey said. "They're excited for me to start next week." "Of course they are. You're the best child psychologist in London." I was the best in London." Chloe glanced at her. "You know what I mean." They passed the "Welcome to Edinburgh" sign as Audrey's phone lit up. Julian's lawyer again. She rejected the call. "Still hasn't signed the papers?" Chloe asked. "No. 3 weeks and counting." "Want me to call him? I have a few choice words saved up." "Let the lawyers handle it." Audrey watched the rain droplets race down the window. "I just want it to be over." They arrived at Audrey's new apartment in the Dean Village neighborhood. Modern, anonymous. Nothing like the opulent high-rise she'd shared with Julian. "Home sweet home," Chloe announced. The flat was small but bright, with wooden floors and exposed brick walls. Audrey's footsteps echoed in the empty space. "The furniture arrives tomorrow," Chloe said, dropping a box. "Can you stay at mine tonight?" "No, I have an air mattress. I need to start setting up. I'm fine." "Really?" Chloe didn't look convinced. "Dinner later? That Thai place I told you about?" "Take a rain check. I want to unpack my office stuff. I have patients starting Monday." After Chloe left, Audrey sat on her air mattress, surrounded by boxes scrawled with Beryl's handwriting. Office supplies, patient files, personal. Her phone vibrated. Dr. Sharma again. "Please call me. The results are important." Audrey started typing. "Thank you, but I've moved to Edinburgh. Please redirect any medical records to..." She deleted it. Some bridges were better left burned. A text popped up from Julian. "The lawyers say you moved. We need to talk." Audrey replied. "Nothing to talk about. Sign the papers." She turned off her phone and opened the box marked "Office." Inside, wrapped in bubble wrap, was her diploma. Dr. Audrey Sinclair, Ph.D. Not thorn. I was never really a thorn in any way, she was honest. The rain outside intensified, a steady drumming against her new windows. Edinburgh rain, she thought. Different from London. Rain of new beginnings. She hung her diploma on the bare wall, the first mark of her new life. By Monday, she would have a new office, new patients, a new routine. The old Audrey might have crumbled under the weight of starting over, but that Audrey had died the morning her husband chose his legacy over their love. This Audrey had work to do. Interactive question 4. What do you hope happens to Audrey in Edinburgh? Do you think Julian will finally sign the divorce papers, or is he delaying for a reason? Share your predictions. The St. Jude's Royal Hospital boardroom fell silent as Julian finished his presentation. 12 pairs of eyes studied him, including his father's calculating gaze from the head of the table. "So," Julian concluded, "with the new surgical wing, we could increase neurosurgical capacity by 40%. Dr. Patterson spoke first. "Impressive numbers, Thorne. But the timing..." The timing is perfect, Eleanor Vance interjected smoothly. St. Jude's needs this expansion to remain competitive. Julian looked at her, grateful for the support. 3 months of working closely with her on this proposal had taught him the value of a good PR director. The cost is substantial, Lord Harrington Thorne noted, shuffling papers before him. The returns will be greater, Julian countered. And with Dr. Patterson retiring next month, the new wing will set up his successor for— Speaking of succession, his father cut in, the board needs to vote on the new head of neurosurgery today. The room tensed. Everyone knew Julian was the front-runner, but with recent events— Dr. Thorne's personal situation should not affect— Eleanor began. My personal situation is irrelevant, Julian snapped. My surgical track record speaks for itself. Lord Harrington Thorne studied his son. Does it? Your post-operative complication rate is up 2% this last month. Still well below the national average, but not quite up to Thorne's standards. The words hung in the air like judgment. Julian felt his jaw clench. All in favor of Dr. Julian Thorne being the new head of neurosurgery, Dr. Patterson called the vote. Hands rose around the table. Julian counted 8, 9, 10. The motion is carried, Patterson announced. Congratulations, Dr. Thorne. The meeting dissolved into handshakes and congratulations. Eleanor caught his eye, mouthing, "Dinner?" His father approached last. Don't make me regret this vote. When have I ever disappointed you? Julian's voice dripped sarcasm. Your divorce papers are still unsigned. That is personal. Nothing is personal in this hospital. Lord Harrington gripped his son's shoulder. Sort this out, whatever the cost. Alone in his office later, Julian stared at the divorce papers in his desk drawer. Audrey's signature stood out against the white paper, his line still blank. His phone vibrated. Eleanor, celebrating at the Wolseley, 8 p.m. He accepted, needing the distraction. The youngest head of neurosurgery in the hospital's history. He should feel triumphant. Instead, he felt the weight of expectation pressing harder than ever. Thorne standards. Thorne legacy. Thorne perfection. Dr. Sharma's test results sat in another drawer, unread. Some truths were better left buried beneath achievement and ambition. His phone buzzed again. A text from Audrey. Sign the papers, please. Julian shut the drawer. Tonight was for celebrating success, not dwelling on failure. He had achieved everything he had ever wanted, hadn't he? Audrey sat in Dr. Pilar Castro's office, twisting her hands in her lap. The Edinburgh fertility specialist studied her file, her lips pursed. Your previous results from London look fine, Dr. Castro said. Have you considered anonymous donor insemination? That's why I'm here. Single mother by choice. Dr. Castro looked up. It's becoming increasingly common. I've spent 3 years letting someone else control my fertility story. Audrey straightened her shoulders. I'm ready to write my own. Dr. Castro nodded. Let's talk options. An hour later, Audrey sat in her car, holding a folder of donor profiles. Her phone showed 3 missed calls from Chloe. Where are you? Chloe demanded when Audrey called back. You missed lunch. Doctor's appointment. Are you sick? No, but I need to tell you something. Chloe arrived with wine and Thai food. Audrey took the food, but waved off the wine. Okay, spill it, Chloe said, settling onto Audrey's new sofa. You're acting weird. Audrey handed her the folder. Chloe's eyes widened as she read. Seriously? I'm done waiting for someone else to give me what I want. But a baby? Alone. I counsel single parents every day, Audrey said. Strong parents, happy parents. That's different. Chloe put the folder down. Why? Because you're my little sister, and I worry. I don't need worry. I need support. And your clinic? You just started here. I've already talked to the partners. They support me. Audrey took her sister's hand. Chloe, I have never been more sure of anything. Chloe was silent for a long moment. Does Julian know? Julian forfeited the right to know anything when he walked away. He still hasn't signed? No, but I'm not waiting any longer. Audrey squeezed her sister's hand. I'm choosing myself, my future, my family. Chloe hugged her. Then I'm with you. All the way. Later, alone in her flat, Audrey opened the donor profiles again. Photos and medical histories of men who could help her create the family she always wanted. Her phone lit up. Julian's lawyer. Client requests a meeting to discuss terms. Audrey texted back. Nothing to discuss. Papers stand as written. She turned back to the profiles, the possibilities and the choices in the future she could control. Tomorrow, she would call Dr. Castro. Tomorrow, she would take the first step toward her new life. Tonight, she allowed herself to dream of a family built on love instead of obligation. A child who would be wanted for its own sake, not for the expectations of a dynasty. Outside, the Edinburgh rain tapped at her windows, a gentle reminder that new growth needed water to thrive. Twins? Audrey clutched the ultrasound monitor. Are you sure? Dr. Castro pointed to the screen. 2 heartbeats. Strong ones. Audrey lay back on the examination table, staring at the 2 tiny flutters. After 6 months of trying, the IVF had worked. More than worked. I'll give you a moment, Dr. Castro said, stepping out. Audrey fumbled for her phone, her hands shaking. Chloe, can you talk? What's wrong? Did it fail again? No. Audrey's voice cracked. It worked. Twice. Chloe's shriek made Audrey pull the phone away from her ear. Twins! Twins! I'm coming over. Don't move. I'm still at the clinic. I'll be there. Don't you dare leave. Audrey touched the screen where 2 lives pulsed in gray tones. Her children. Hers alone. Chloe burst in 20 minutes later, still in her chef's apron. Show me. Dr. Castro returned with printouts and a stack of information. Ready to discuss logistics, the next hour was a blur of medical terms, recommendations, and warnings. High-risk pregnancy, extra monitoring, possible bed rest. Your clinic has a good maternity leave policy, right? Dr. Castro asked. Audrey nodded. 6 months paid. I've already spoken to them. Support system. You have me, Chloe said firmly. Later, at Audrey's flat, Chloe spread the ultrasound photos across the coffee table. They look like little kidney beans, she said. Perfect kidney beans. Audrey touched the images. My beans. Have you thought about names? Isla and Daisy. Audrey had known for months, ever since the first positive test. Mum would have loved those names. Chloe's voice softened. She would be so proud of you. Audrey's phone vibrated. Julian's lawyer, again. Final notice, before judicial intervention. She deleted it unread. Let them take him to court. Nothing could touch her joy today. The nursery needs 2 of everything now, Chloe mused. Good thing you got the 2-bedroom flat. Good thing I have a sister who stress bakes when she's excited. Audrey patted her gently swelling belly. These babies are going to need a lot of Aunt Chloe's croissants. I'm already planning their first birthday cake. Chloe hugged her sister. You are going to be an amazing mother. That night, Audrey lay in bed, her hands resting on her abdomen. Twins. A family already made, growing beneath her heart. Her phone lit up one last time. Julian, I heard you're still in Edinburgh. We need to talk. Audrey switched off her phone. She had more important things to focus on now. 2 heartbeats. 2 futures. 2 reasons to be grateful he had walked away. Sometimes the worst endings led to the best beginnings. Final CTA. What do you think will happen when Julian finally sees Audrey? Do you believe Julian will change his mind now that he knows the truth about himself? Tell us your predictions, and follow for the next chapter. Eleanor, we need those quarterly reports. Julian stopped. Eleanor Vance was in his office, holding a familiar manila envelope. I found this while organizing for the board review. She held up Dr. Sharma's envelope. You never opened it. That's private. It fell out of your old files. She placed it on his desk. Next to these, she dropped a pile of papers beside it. Insurance claim denials for fertility treatments. Audrey's signature on endless appeals. 3 years of documented struggle. Those are confidential medical records. Those are proof you ran away instead of facing the truth. Eleanor's voice was sharp. A head of neurosurgery. I understand quite a bit. Your father cornered me yesterday asking about the delay in finalizing your divorce. He needs to stay out of my personal life. Nothing is personal in this hospital. Remember? Eleanor mimicked Lord Harrington's tone. Your words. She sat on the edge of his desk. Read the results, Julian. It doesn't matter anymore. She's gone. To Edinburgh, where she is building a new life without you. Eleanor tapped the envelope. Don't you want to know if you destroyed your marriage for nothing? Julian stared at the envelope. 3 months of avoiding it. 3 months of throwing himself into work, into planning the new wing, into occasional dinners with Eleanor that never went anywhere because they both knew he wasn't ready. And if it says what I think it says? He cleared his throat. That I'm the reason we don't have children? Eleanor's voice softened. Then you deal with it, like a doctor, like the head of neurosurgery you're supposed to be. She walked toward the door. Read it. Then maybe you can stop hiding behind your father's legacy and start building your own. Alone. Julian. He picked up the envelope. Inside, the numbers and medical terms leaped out. Low motility. Below average count. Treatable with intervention. His phone buzzed. His father. Court date set for divorce proceedings. Fix this. Julian's hand clenched around the test results. All this time, he had blamed Audrey. All this time, he had been wrong. He reached for his phone, then stopped. What could he possibly say? Sorry I destroyed our marriage because I was too proud to face my own failings. The intercom buzzed. Dr. Thorne, your 3 o'clock craniotomy is prepped. Julian straightened his coat. Surgery first. Truth later. Always later. Julian looked at his reflection in the surgical scrub room, seeing his father's features in his own face. The same determined jaw. The same steely gaze. Dr. Thorne, a nurse poked her head in. Your father is in your office. Says it's urgent. I'm scrubbing in for surgery. He said, and I quote, tell him it's about Audrey Sinclair. Julian's hand stopped under the running water. What about her? Just that it's urgent. In his office, Lord Harrington Thorne stood at the window, his hands clasped behind his back. The Edinburgh Children's Hospital called. Julian dried his hands. Why would they? They're headhunting her. They're offering her head of pediatric psychology. His father turned around. Did you know she's published 3 articles since moving there? No. While you've been hiding behind surgeries, she's been building a reputation. Lord Harrington tossed a medical journal onto the desk, Audrey's name on the cover. The board noticed. What do you mean? Edinburgh is building a new trauma center. They want her to run the child psychology department. St. Jude's was considering the same offer. Julian picked up the journal. She won't come back. No, she won't. Lord Harrington studied his son. You are becoming me, Julian. Isn't that what you wanted? I wanted you to succeed, not to be alone. Lord Harrington walked toward the door. Read her article. Then look yourself in the mirror and tell me you don't see my worst mistakes looking back." After his father left, Julian opened the journal. Audrey's work on childhood resilience after parental abandonment. Case studies of children rebuilding their lives after loss. His phone lit up. "Eleanor, dinner tonight." He declined. For the first time in months, he had something more important to read. Audrey's words filled the pages. Professional, but with the warmth he remembered from their early days. When had he stopped seeing that warmth? When had he become so focused on the legacy that he forgot the love? The intercom buzzed. "Dr. Thorne, theater is waiting." Julian put the journal down. Another surgery. Another escape. But his father's words echoed. "You are becoming me." In the scrub room mirror, he saw it clearly now. The same mistakes, the same pride, the same loneliness. Audrey adjusted her presentation slides one last time. The London Medical Psychology Conference, of all places. She had to present here. Dr. Alistair Ross, a conference organizer, approached her. "You're on in 5 minutes, and Dr. Thorne is in the audience." Audrey's hands paused on her laptop. "Which Dr. Thorne?" "Both, actually, and the new PR director." Perfect. Her entire old life, sitting in neat rows to watch her speak about childhood trauma and resilience. Chloe squeezed her arm. "Want me to create a distraction? I could pull the fire alarm." "I've got this." Audrey straightened her jacket, consciously avoiding touching her now prominent 6-month pregnancy bump. Impossible to hide. The introduction began. "Our next speaker, Dr. Audrey Sinclair from the Edinburgh Children's Hospital." Audrey walked to the podium, clicking to her first slide. She didn't look at the audience, focusing on her research. Children overcoming abandonment, families rebuilding, the strength found in starting over. "Questions?" the moderator asked as she finished. A familiar voice from the back. "Dr. Sinclair, how do your findings apply to cases where parental abandonment stems from medical issues?" Julian. Of course he would ask that. "The cause of the abandonment matters less than the response to it," Audrey replied, her voice steady. "Children are remarkably adaptable when given the right support and stability." Their eyes met across the auditorium. He looked tired. Older, somehow. Eleanor Vance sat beside him, taking notes. After the session, Audrey gathered her materials quickly, but not quickly enough. "Audrey?" She turned around. Julian was there, awkward in his surgical scrubs. "Congratulations on the research," he said stiffly. "Thank you." She moved toward the door. "You look—" His eyes dropped to her abdomen. "Don't." Audrey took a step back. "You forfeited the right to comment on my life. I read the test results. Months too late." Chloe appeared at her side. "Everything all right here?" "Fine." Audrey touched her sister's arm. "Shall we go?" As they walked away, she heard Lord Harrington Thorne's voice. "Let her go, son. Some mistakes can't be fixed." In the hotel lobby, Audrey leaned against the wall, her hands protectively over her belly. "Are you okay?" Chloe asked. "More than okay." Audrey felt her babies move. "I'm exactly where I need to be." Her phone vibrated. "The Edinburgh Children's Hospital. Regarding your head of department offer." Audrey smiled. Some endings truly were beginnings in disguise. Meaningful ending and final scene. 2 years later, the BMA conference in Dublin buzzed with activity. Julian adjusted his presentation notes, watching the audience file in for his lecture on innovations in pediatric neurosurgery. A familiar laugh caught his attention. Near the entrance, Audrey was helping 2 small girls out of their coats, twins with bouncing brown curls and matching smiles. A man joined them. Ethan Powell, Audrey's husband. Julian had seen their wedding announcement a year ago in the medical journal. "Ready, Dr. Thorne?" He pulled himself away from the scene at the door, facing his presentation screen. Later, during the reception, he watched from across the room as Audrey accepted an award for her work in child trauma therapy. The twins, Isla and Daisy, sat with Ethan, applauding their mother enthusiastically. His phone vibrated. Dr. Sharma. "Test results look good. Third round of treatment shows promising improvement." Beside him, Eleanor squeezed his hand. They had started dating seriously 6 months ago, after years of friendship had evolved into something more. "Want to leave early?" she asked. "No." Julian watched Audrey hug her daughters. "I needed to see this." "See what?" "That some things break for a reason," he smiled at Eleanor. "That sometimes the wrong path leads you to the right one." Across the room, Audrey looked up. She nodded once. A simple acknowledgement between colleagues. Nothing more, nothing less. It was enough. Julian squeezed Eleanor's hand and headed for the exit. Behind him, he heard the girls' laughter mingle with the murmur of the crowd. A reminder that life moved on, with or without your permission. Sometimes the best endings weren't endings at all, but transformations. Everyone was exactly where they needed to be.